The unveiling of the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona has been a narrative of two vastly different cars. And I'm not referring to the distinctions between its electric vehicle and the internal combustion variant powered by the Hurricane engine. What I'm talking about is the PR spin on all the positives of the Charger Daytona and nothing about where it comes up short, which is in a lot of places. Because what if I told you that Stellantis' own press release paints an entirely different picture of the Charger Daytona? It's 5,800 pounds, has worse range than the Tesla Model S Plaid, a lower top speed than the Demon 170's 149 miles per hour. The Charger Daytona Scat Pack won't be 670 horsepower next year, and it can't even be Dodge's third fastest drag strip monster in a quarter mile. So as you guys can see, I am sitting in my hotel room in New York City. So that's why you're going to hear the audio in this particular video sound a little bit different from what you're normally used to. But one thing I cannot stand is the feeling of being deceived. And frankly, that's exactly how I feel watching the reveal of the Charger Daytona. Initially, we were presented with a vision of promise by none other than my friend of me, Dodge CEO Tim Kuniskis, a figure many of us hold in high regard. His presentation sparked a lot of excitement, hinting at a groundbreaking advancement in the automotive world because Dodge has just launched the first ever all-electric muscle car. But then the narrative began to shift. As I listened to the different automotive journalists' videos and articles, a different picture started to emerge, one that didn't fully align with the initial optimism, which led me to a deep dive into the press release that truly opened my eyes, offering a glimpse into the reality of living with a Charger Daytona. The RT Charger Daytona is not worth buying, and the Scat Pack Charger Daytona can't even compete with Dodge's current vehicles. I personally do not like the Charger Daytona for one reason and one reason only, but I'll get into that later on in the video. But I want to go over the facts that are scattered across several different locations by several different automotive journalists and present all of them here in this one video. But by the end of this video, you should never consider buying a Charger Daytona RT if you want to have fun like doing donuts, because you cannot disable all-wheel drive in that trim. Now the first bullet point is where we had to start because it says that the Scat Pack will deliver up to 670 horsepower, but that is only for year one. If you buy a 2025 Charger Daytona 1 year later, regardless if it is a Scat Pack or RT, it will be detuned back to its base horsepower levels, which is 455 horsepower for the RT and 590 horsepower for the Scat Pack. You'll have to deal with those corrupt power brokers dealers to unlock these cars back up to 535 horsepower for the RT and 670 horsepower for the Scat Pack. These numbers come from Stellantis' press release 2 years ago when they announced the horsepower levels for the Charger Daytona. And Stellantis confirms right here that the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona models will feature standard direct connection stage kits for maximum performance at launch. So it'll be interesting next year when these cars get detuned back down to their base horsepower. Will the price be detuned or will it go up? For the next bullet point, the Scat Pack Charger Daytona will run the quarter mile in 11.5 seconds. Essentially, anyone with a super stock with their stage kits installed would easily beat the Scat Pack Charger Daytona. Last I checked, one of my buddies did a 9.85 in the quarter mile with his direct connection stage kit and his super stock. Now maybe the quarter mile time is so bad in this car because I caught wind on TFL's video of the Charger Daytona that it weighs 5,800 pounds, which is about 1,000 pounds heavier than the Tesla Model S Plaid. Or maybe the fact that the top speed for this EV is 137 miles per hour for the RT, or down to only 134 miles per hour on the Scat Pack Charger Daytona. That's about 40 miles per hour less than a current power 6.4 liter Scat Pack that we have available now. Which means on the highway, you're gonna get smoked by any Scat Pack and above Dodge vehicle. You'll end up just like me, get smoked on the highway by a Durango 392, when my Ram TRX top speed was 118 miles per hour. With the amount of backlash over the 149 mile per hour top speed with the Demon 170, I don't understand Dodge's logic to go even lower with 137 miles per hour on the slowest RT model and even slower on 134 miles per hour with the Scat Pack. And we look down to the next bullet point, all Charger Daytonas will come standard with a Foxhunter chamber exhaust system, which I wish was an option because how much of that 5,800 pounds is the weight of this system that could have been saved. Now, PowerShot gives you an extra 40 horsepower for 15 seconds, but how long till you can actually use that again? Is it 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 30 minutes? How long until you can actually use that PowerShot feature again? Now, moving on, the new race options include donut mode and drift mode, but it's only available in the Scat Pack Charger Daytona. If you scroll all the way down and read this section, the Charger is offering more options than ever before to explore muscle car performance with the new donut and drift mode exclusive to the Daytona Scat Pack. Donut mode enables the vehicle to spin only its rear wheels. With every Charger Daytona being all-wheel drive, the only way you can do rear-wheel drive mode is in the Scat Pack and not the RT Charger Daytona. Now, it will be very interesting if this carries over to the ICE variants to where you can only do rear-wheel drive mode in the SixPack high output version, but you cannot do it in the SixPack standard output version. It'll be very interesting, and there's no mention of that anywhere. The track pack option, only available on the Scat Pack, includes the massive 16-inch Brembo vented rotors and a 6-piston front and a 4-piston rear calipers to give you 30% more sweep area than the outgoing model. So for an electric vehicle that weighs about 25 to 30% more than the outgoing cars, I would think that these brakes will be standard across the board. Every TRX owner knows from experience, if you do a few of those 60 to 0 stops, the truck will not stop eventually about maybe the third or fourth time. I'm not saying this is going to happen on a Charger Daytona, but I don't like the fact that an almost 6,000 pound car doesn't have the best brakes standard. Based on the press release, you'll have to get this package for the maximum vehicle performance, so I would love to see how much it's going to cost, but Dodge has not released any pricing for a vehicle that we have known about for at least 3 years, with about 3 months to go before it goes on sale. If you want to look at other options on the Charger Daytona, it seems to have the full glass roof as an option, which is pretty much standard on really any Tesla vehicle. Then we have heads-up display, the Plus Group, the black top package, the carbon and suede package, the sun and sound package, and an 18-speaker 9 to 14 watt Alpine system with a subwoofer, which I wonder how much of that power is going towards the Foxhunter exhaust sound system. Now, if you watch this video right here by the Hemi software, you'll see exactly how the Foxhunter exhaust system is set up. Now, what about charging? We don't have listed how long it'll take to fully charge the Charger Daytona, only that you must find a level 3 charger station that go from 20 to 80% in about 30 minutes. Interesting that they do not have the 0 to 80% charge time, but if you do the math, for every 10% of battery life is equal to about 26 miles for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. So to stay in that 20 to 80% range, that is 52 to 208 miles of range that you can recover in 30 minutes. That is basically only 156 miles of range for every time you need to go sit at a level 3 charger to charge up within 30 minutes. Only 156 miles. If I took a road trip where I am now in New York and traveled 600 miles back home, I would have to charge a bare minimum of 4 times to stay within this 30-minute charger window. My 9.5 hour drive from North Carolina to New York just now turned to 11.5 hours, depending on where there's a working or free electric charger available for where I am stopping at. And don't think that you can just stop off at any Tesla supercharger. The Charger Daytona does not have a compatible plug for you to charge there. You have to either find a suspect public charger, which you don't know works or does not work, or you got to download the Tesla app to find specifically where they allow non-Teslas to charge at. If you think that would be an easy life for the Charger Daytona, wait until you notice that there's a lot of these charger stations that are set up in some sketchy areas, and you wouldn't want your wife or girlfriend to charge there after dark. Just saying. And finally, I do not like the names SixPack SO and SixPack HO for the internal combustion versions of the Charger. I understand why they did it, because they use SST on the Ram trucks, which basically means straight 6 turbo. I couldn't really find an answer anywhere, but will there still be a Pentastar engine for the base model Charger gas cars? Then Dodge will go up to the next level for the SixPack SO that has a Hurricane standard output They could name that the XXT trim. Then the high output Hurricane engine could have just been known as the SixPack. No HO, no SO, just SixPack. Everyone knows that Dodge like to have creative names, and I think SixPack would have been great just for the Hurricane high output. Everyone is used to Dodge having creative names for the trims, and SixPack So for the Hurricane standard output does not sound very good or appealing, pun intended. Then Dodge could have continued through the electric lineup with the RT, the Scat Pack, and the Banshee as the Hellcat platform embarrassment. I mean, Hellcat platform replacement. Now, honestly, I do not like the Charger Daytona for the simple reason I do not believe Dodge's excuse. They can't make the Hemi engines anymore. Now, everyone's going to assume that Tim Knissis is referring to the government when he says this, but in a quote a few weeks ago, Carl Severus is the man who said Dodge or Ram couldn't have Hemi engines anymore because he would not allow Tim Knissis to buy emissions credits. Our European overlord is the person, I believe, that will not let the brand develop a new smaller V8 engine, which I believe a revamped 5.7 Hemi would have made a lot more sense because Ford can get a lot of power out of a 5.0 liter Coyote. I have to believe that Dodge is competent enough to get more power out of a 5.7 V8. A 5.7 could have been a great base to start from. The Charger Daytona would make perfect sense as a complement to our existing cars, not their replacement. The Charger Daytona cannot be the Superstock, the third fastest variant after the 2018 and 2023 Demons on the drag strip. It has a worse top speed than the Demon 170 at 134 miles per hour, and it will get blown out on the highway by a current Scat Pack with a 6.4 liter Hemi in it. Next year, the Charger Daytona RT and the Scat Pack variant will be detuned down because Dodge will remove the direct connection kits for you to buy it all over again and have to deal with some of the worst Dodge dealerships in the country who pretend to be power brokers. The Charger Daytona Scat Pack only has 260 miles of range, but that's if you get that in the first place. But you better stop at 20% of your battery life, or you're going to be sitting in that fast charger for longer than 30 minutes. While everyone else can fuel up in 5 minutes and go about their life, you'll be sitting there catching a nap as life passes you by. Hopefully not in the cold or the rain, because I have not seen any charger stations that have it on them to keep you dry. I know my friend of me, Tim Knissis, said that Dodge read the rule book and this is the EV that the government does not want you to buy. But looking at these stats, this seems exactly like the EV that the government wants you to have. A low top speed means you cannot run from corrupt government officials, a low range meaning that you can't run that far, and a 5,800 pound vehicle probably means you'll be chewing through tires a lot quicker than Tesla owners. If you do just a simple Google search, you'll see what I'm talking about. But let me know what you guys think. Is a Charger Daytona a home run, or will it be dead on arrival? Because we still have zero idea of pricing, and it'll be very interesting if Dodge can compete with Tesla, considering that their top dog, the Plaid, is in that mid 80K range. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you already done so, and until the next time, I'm out.